What up, nerds? Leslie here. Welcome to The Nerdy Narrative. This is my channel where I talk about all of the things that I read. Today's video is where I sit down, talk about all of the things that I've been reading over the past week, just give you some initial thoughts, some little mini reviews on the things that I finished and what I plan to read next. Starting with, what did I finish this week? Well, I finally finished my journey through the Watchmen comic. Or I guess I should say graphic novel because it's the complete set. So my friend and author, Michael J. Pico, I will link some videos I've done about some of his work that I've read so far, and I've got more on deck to read soon. He let me know that there was an animated series about this comic. I had no idea. I've only ever seen the movie and now read the graphic novel. I am going to be watching that series. If you haven't seen the animated series like me, he told me that it was on HBO Max, which I have, and if you have it, that's where you can watch it. So that's what I'm going to be doing, probably starting this weekend. I loved it. I guess I completely forgot how the movie ended, or maybe it just deviated from how I didn't expect it. I was completely thrown for a loop. I'm still in shock, actually. I finished this 2 or 3 days ago now, maybe more actually. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still speechless over the ending. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Just, wow. Wow. I think if you would like to have a good view of how history repeats itself, check out the Watchmen graphic novel. My next thing that I finished is Wish Givers by Shannon Knight. Holy smokes. This gave me more than I was expecting. When the author reached out to me, she let me know that the magic system was based on tattoos. Well, as you all know, your girl here loves some tattoos. And the basis for this magic system is that the tattoo is a wish, and when the tattooer, who is a person who is of this certain tribe of people called the Mali, when you make this wish to them, it immediately translates in their minds as an image. And depending on what your wish entails, depends on where it goes on your body to give it the most strength. If you take a wish that should be in one part of the body, you can place it elsewhere, but it's going to affect the impact and the strength of the wish. When the tattooer puts it on your body and they finish and they say, "I have granted your wish," that wish also appears on their own body. And yes, it appears all at once. They feel all of the pain of the pinpricks of the entire time they're tattooing the person that is making the wish. Okay, so what that means is when they have covered their entire body with granting wishes, they can no longer grant any more wishes. There's so much more to it than that. That is just a very oversimplified description of the magic system. I came for the magic system. I stayed for everything else. Its plot is a getting revenge on your enemies type of plot. Y'all, I mean, this thing just went back and forth because the main character, Riva, her goal is to free her people. The ruler of this island nation has made a wish, well, one further back in his bloodline made a wish that the Mali could only grant the wish of the current ruler. And as such, they've become slaves, captives. They're kept in pits underneath the palace. Riva, who had been living in hiding, has decided she's going to go in and free her people. So I was there for that. I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting, because her approach was, I'm just going to give him everything he wants and let him accidentally wish us free. That's the goal. When she goes in, she's thinking, okay, I'm only giving myself up. But as she goes through the story and meets other people, she starts caring about them too. The stakes get higher and higher. There is so much more than that. Absolutely love this book. I'm going to be filming a review that's going to be coming out in the coming days. So if you want to catch that review because you love unique magic systems, keep your eyes peeled on the channel. Now let's talk about what am I still currently reading. Well, first up, I started The Spear Cuts Through Water. Did I say that right? Yes, I did. By Simon Jimenez. This is my first time reading this author. Love the writing style. Now, I want to say to you, if you don't enjoy second person POV, if that's something you just can't jive with, don't even try. This book flows between first, second, third POV, but it's so well done. So it's kind of a Russian, is it the Russian Cupid dolls where you open one, there's another one nested inside, then there's another one nested inside, there's another one nested inside. So we, the reader, start this out, and a grandmother is telling a grandchild a story of their people. And she talks about how there's always this dream. There's this dream world that exists between where, if I remember correctly, where the moon meets the water. It's this in between. And the grandchild then actually finds themselves in this world, and they're watching the story of their people, and it's kind of like a theater. Actually, it is a theater. It's set up like this theater where they're sitting there and they're watching this play. So they're watching it play out, but then the players, the people who are in the play, will break the fourth wall and fill in context. So it's really neat. Love it. And I was all in because it's the story of the moon goddess who fell to earth, and she really loved being a mortal woman for a while. She fathered 3 sons, but then over the course of time she became captive, and then sons just became terrors, and they're actually called terrors. The first terror, the second terror, and the third terror. And so she is setting out to kill the father of her sons and her 3 sons and free the land. And there's these 2 young men who have been brought into helping her. I love the intrigue. I love the just high stakes. I'm a high stakes lover. If the book has high stakes, more than likely I'm going to be very entertained. So I've been loving it. But all of a sudden, we've gotten to a section where there's kind of this step back from the action, and it's turned into more of a love story, but it's a very slow moving, awkward first love kind of thing, and I am not vibing on that at all. I was like, this is a 5-star read until I got to this section, and I'm going, oh man. Please let it pick up soon. So not sure how The Spear Cut Through Water is going to end for me, but I'm going to stick it through to the end. I'm almost done. I think I should finish probably tomorrow. In addition to The Spear Cuts Through Water, I have started my slow journey into Ships of Merior, which is the second book in the Wars of Light and Shadow series by Janny Wurts. I love this author's writing style so much. And I mean, it's one of those where every word is important. And I've really been taking this one slow. I'm talking 8 to 10 pages per day. I am basically just picking up the book, reading from one break to the next break, so that one event is the only thing I'm reading in that day, because I want to think about it. I want to mull it over. I want to figure out where I think it's going, because this is one of those series that's just great for discussion. It's great conversation pieces. I am delighted to say that it started off with a hilarious event from one of my favorite characters from the first book. 5 years have passed between The Curse of the Mistwraith and this one. I couldn't decide if there was going to be a little bit of time passing or a whole lot of time passing between those. I'm delighted to see that it's only been 5 years, and it seems as though our characters that have carried over from the first book, they've all been busy putting out small fires that were a result of the first book's ending. And now they're coming back to, okay, we got to get to the heart of the matter and figure out if there's any way we can end this curse, this enmity between Arathon and Lysaer. So it looks like we're going to be right back into the thick of things very, very soon. So that's going to be a very slow journey for me. I'm doing this as part of a read-along with a ton of booktubers. Probably some of your favorites are involved. Talking Stories Discord is where we're having the discussion for the read-along. We're spending about 2 months per book, and we're doing live show discussions at the end. So I will link the information regarding this read-along down in the description below if you want to jump in. My last book that I started and just immediately fell into is The Third Rule of Time Travel by Philip Fracassi. This is the latest release from this author. It comes out March 18th, so just a couple of days after you're watching this. I hope to have my review out on release day on Tuesday. So if this is the author you've enjoyed reading in the past and you're curious to see what I thought, my experience, that video is going to be out very, very soon. Hopefully, like I said, on release day, but it might be a day or two behind, just depending on how the week goes. I am enjoying it so far. I'm not in love. It is not a 5-star read for me quite yet. It is actually a 3 hovering on the cusp of becoming a 4. I'm about 32% of the way through. It's kind of on the tipping balance of becoming great or possibly staying middle of the road. So the premise of this one is this young scientist. She has figured out a way to do time travel, but not in the sense that you're envisioning. It's not Doctor Who. It's not anything of that nature. It's your subconscious. They figured out how to do it, but they haven't figured out how to control it. And how it works is it's basically using a wormhole and negative energy. You can only go back into your own timeline. You can only stay for 90 seconds at a time, and you can only observe. So from the title that tells you that third rule, something's going to happen where it's no longer observation. That's just my prediction from the title, and knowing that all of the things I've read by Philip Fracassi in the past have been horror, I am expecting this sci-fi is going to take a turn to the horror side of things really quickly, and that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm looking forward to, and when that breaks out, oh, I think this is going to tip those scales in the favorable higher star category. But as it stands, solid 3. So that's everything I'm reading. Let's talk about what's next on deck. This is the month of arcs for me, y'all. So I have 2 arcs that I'm going to be diving into next that are coming out in April. The first of which is one I've been talking about for a couple of weeks now, Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. This is by Jesse Q. Santanto. This is the second in the Vera Wong series. I am so delighted this has become a series. This is one of those fun, cozy mysteries that's gonna make you hungry. This is Vera Wong. She is, I want to say, around 65 years old. She's a widow. She is very nosy. She has a tea house, and she decided she likes to solve murders. She gets in the way of everything, but she is so cute. I just love her. I love how she goes about trying to solve these mysteries, and she gets in the way. Yes, she's annoying. Yes, but you grow to love that, and I encourage you to read that first book in the series, and you tell me if you don't wish you had a woman like this in your life when you're done. I bet you're gonna be just like me and wish you did, if not for anything else, but for the cooking alone. That first book made me so hungry. Another very exciting sequel and an arc that I got approved for is A Drop of Corruption, which is the second in the Shadow of a Leviathan series by Robert Jackson Bennett. This one is amazing. I am someone who loves unique magic systems, as evidenced by my love for Wish Givers and its unique magic system. That is what attracted me to this book by Robert Jackson Bennett. It has a sort of plant life magic system, but also where people can have augmentations applied to themselves. And one of the main characters, Den, he is what is called an engraver, and he can smell something, and depending on what he sniffs before listening to someone or interviewing a suspect or something of that nature, he can sniff something beforehand, do the interview or do the walkthrough of the crime scene, and it makes him remember every single solitary thing about that. And when he wants to recall that memory, he smells whatever it was he used as the catalyst before he did the interview or the walkthrough or whatever. Just absolutely loved it. This was dubbed a similarity to Sherlock and Holmes, and it absolutely delivered on that comparison in the first book, so very much looking forward to continuing that series. And then I decided for fun, I wanted to get back into the Bunnyverse. This is a series, the Dublin Trilogy, which is such an increasingly inappropriate name for the series because it's called the Dublin Trilogy. It's now, I think, 7 books, but it features Bunny McGarry, who is an absolutely hysterical detective. It takes place in Dublin, obviously, and I read a couple of books in the series already after I read The Stranger Times by this author. He's an Irish comedian that's just absolutely amazing. So this is his crime thriller series. And there's a lot of humor in it. And one of my friends, I had him read The Stranger Times and he loved it. Then I told him to read the Dublin trilogy, and he has now passed me, and he is just dying to talk to me about it and laugh over things that have happened. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to get back into that series. But I'm going to do it in chronological order because this is how the series got out of control. It started as a trilogy, and then the author decided to write a prequel to the trilogy, and then the prequel got a sequel, and then it got some standalones from some other characters, and it's just branched out from there. So I just decided I need that in my life. Amazing narrator. I want to say Morgan C. Jones is the narrator for this series, and he just does a phenomenal job. So a very interesting week of reading has been had. Had the one winner with Wish Givers. I got a couple of others that are just on the brink of what are they going to do? I don't know. I'm excited for those that I have coming up next. What else have I? Okay. Has anybody started watching Daredevil Born Again? I watched, was there 1 or 2 episodes out? I think there's 2 episodes out. I watched both of those. I don't know what I think yet. I know it's not going to be, I'm expecting it to not be as good as the Daredevils that were produced by Netflix because this is Disney and we know they like to Disney things up a little bit. I've seen some of their creative ways to try to have some of that fighting style in, some of the action scenes, and where they're avoiding having all the blood and gore and all of that. But it's still too soon to tell of how this is going to go. I'll have to see a couple more episodes to figure out what I think about that. Some of you may have seen my update on Twitter. I went to see the movie Mickey 17. The first sign that should have let me know I wasted my money was the fact that there was only about 20 people in the theater. 20 minutes in, I looked at my husband and I apologized. I said, I'm so sorry that I wasted our money on this. People were already leaving at that point, and I really wish that I had joined them. The movie only borrowed a few small things from its source material. It kept a few of the character names, the name of the world, and the name of the creatures that the humans encountered on the planet. They called them the creepers. That's it. Everything else, in fact, let me just tell you what this is. This was Boon Joon-ha deciding he wanted to spend 2 hours making fun of American politics, politicians, and Christians. That's it. Absolutely destroyed the core of the book. The story of the book where Mickey Barnes is one man, this character who showed how to be the change, how one person actually can be the change that can spark a greater change for the benefit, the good of all. Instead of the movie focusing on the solution, it decided to highlight the problem. Yeah, so that's so fucking tired. Apologize for the French. I am so tired of that. I mean, everybody makes fun of Trump. It's so worn out. It's so tiresome. It wasn't even funny. Like, I didn't even get to laugh at anything. It wasn't funny. It was so, like, I can't believe Mark Ruffalo could act so badly. I'm guessing he was told to, but I would be embarrassed to have that on my record because that is just awful. It was awful. Completely terrible. Like, all of the acting was terrible. The way that Mickey Barnes was portrayed was terrible. The only one good actor in this movie was the character of Nasha. She did amazing, and she actually captured a little bit of what the character of Mickey Barnes did in the book. I'm telling y'all, it was freaking awful. I can make fun of Trump. I can be funnier than that, and I will do it for free. But, you know, people are talking with their wallets. It has flopped in the United States. It hasn't even done well worldwide. This sucker cost like $118 million to make, and it has not even made half that in the opening weekend. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very expensive lesson for the screenwriter and producer, and I think that's just going to be a stain on his record because it is trash. I have never actively hated an adaptation as much as I did this one. Now, my husband hasn't read the book yet. He's gonna read the book. So I asked his opinion because I knew he wouldn't be biased. I was like, what did you think about that movie? Did you enjoy it? He said, that is the worst movie I have paid to see in years. So it wasn't just a book fan that didn't like it. It's just horrible. I am baffled that the author allowed his work to be trashed like that. All right, time to get off the soapbox. We all know I'm a book snob, and in the future, if I start talking about excited about going to see a movie based on a book, y'all please somebody just get down in the comments and stop me. Tell me to stay at home and stream that sucker. So thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate you being here to check out what I'm reading. Hopefully something I talked about is something that interests you and you're going to pick it up. You'll have to let me know in those comments down below. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. This channel would not be what it is today without its patrons, especially those of my top tier: Ev, Sharon, Kate, Andrew, Amanda, Ann, Tara, Star, Gail, John, Chad, Heidi, and Wilbur.